In Georgia, the FBI called it Operation No Escape, and the name was not a guess. It was a promise of decisive action that would leave the adversary humiliated. Over the course of 6 relentless weeks, U.S. law enforcement hunted down and captured 177 fugitives tied directly to cartel networks and violent crime. This was not a small sweep. It was a full-scale dismantling of the idea that criminals could hide from justice in the American South. Suspects accused of the worst crimes, murder, assault, drug trafficking, and crimes against children, were located, cornered, and dragged into custody, one by one. The message sent to every remaining cartel associate was simple and brutal. No matter where you hide in Georgia, there is no escape. The sheer scale of the arrests exposes the weakness of the cartel's infrastructure inside the United States. For too long, these violent organizations counted on chaos and division. They thought local police would not talk to state forces, and state forces would not coordinate with federal agents. Operation No Escape shattered that fragile belief. This powerful crackdown was led by the FBI Atlanta Field Office and the U.S. Marshal Service for the Northern District of Georgia. These federal agencies worked together with local forces across an astonishing 58 jurisdictions. This unity of effort proved that U.S. partnerships are stronger than the criminal's ability to run. The adversary's strategy of relying on jurisdictional gaps was exposed as a critical weakness. When the U.S. moves as one, the adversary is left with nowhere to turn. The preparation for this effort was precise, setting the stage for the humiliation that followed. It took careful intelligence sharing, exact planning, and constant communication between all levels of authority. The 6-week window itself showed the urgency behind the operation. This was a sprint, not a casual search. The arrest teams knew that every day a fugitive remained free was another day of potential violence against U.S. citizens. The countdown mentality kept the pressure high on law enforcement, which meant the heat on the cartels was even greater. This focus created a sense of dopamine anticipation for the teams. Small wins were achieved daily, fueling the push for the complete resolution. Suspects were tracked, cornered, and captured in rapid succession, offering intermittent rewards of success that kept the pressure on the adversary unrelenting. The operation revealed the cartel's deep reliance on Metro Atlanta, a major transportation hub for its operations in the Southeast. Of the 177 fugitives captured, 106 were taken down in the Atlanta metro area alone. The U.S. forces struck straight at the logistical jewel of the cartel's distribution networks for fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
Atlanta was the beating heart of their operations in Georgia, and Operation No Escape aimed directly for it. By focusing hard on the urban hub, the U.S. forces created scarcity and overload for the adversary. The cartels faced total chaos in the one place they thought they could operate with hidden safety, while law enforcement acted with dominant, decisive action. But the cartel's weakness was exposed beyond the big city. The remaining fugitives were found scattered across Georgia in towns like Columbus, Albany, Valdosta, Macon, Athens, Augusta, Statesboro, Savannah, Brunswick, Cartersville, Dalton, and Gainesville. This spread into smaller communities proved that cartel-linked crime does not stay confined to major metros. The operation showed that they had embedded themselves in places that did not expect such high-level threats. Operation No Escape brought this reality into the open, elevating Georgia to the front lines of the cartel confrontation. The escalation of scale from local bus to a coordinated statewide dragnet was a novelty that the cartels had never anticipated. They had believed their network was invisible and that their crimes were too complex for simple local police to handle. The U.S. response showed their mistake was complete. The nature of the arrests emphasizes the severity of the threat that was decisively removed. These were not low-level criminals. The targets were suspects wanted for murder, sexual assault, aggravated assault, armed robbery, and crimes against children. Many were identified as enforcers, traffickers, or facilitators connected to cartel activity. Arresting them was not just about clearing old warrants, it was a move to cut the muscle and logistics from organizations that rely on violence and drug money to survive. Each capture pulled a vital thread from the cartel tapestry woven into Georgia, weakening their hold. The operation gave the audience maximum satisfaction through visible, tribal, male-male dynamics, asserting complete U.S. dominance over the adversary. For the fugitives, freedom felt real just 6 weeks ago. They were seen as untouchable outlaws, hiding in plain sight. 6 weeks later, that script was violently flipped. They are now captives, stripped of the illusion of freedom, and forced to face charges. This is the essence of humiliation. The powerful pretense of being an outlaw is replaced by the pathetic reality of being a prisoner. Their mugshots became proof of the failure of their criminal enterprise. The decisive action provided a powerful relief loop for communities. The tension of living near active threats, murder suspects, drug traffickers, and child predators was suddenly resolved by the sight of U.S. law enforcement acting with certainty. Every drug trafficker removed means less poison pumped into neighborhoods. Every suspect accused of crimes against children arrested means a nightmare is prevented from repeating. By pulling 177 of these suspects off the streets, law enforcement did more than just enforce the law. They prevented the next wave of violence, addiction, and abuse. The operation was conducted with a focus that left near misses impossible for the enemy. Fugitives who relied on time or distance to shield them found that the net had tightened everywhere. The message was clear. There is no safe window of time to hide when U.S. agencies act with this level of speed and precision. The fact that 177 names were erased from fugitive rolls in just 6 weeks is a testament to the fact that U.S. law enforcement is capable and willing to act decisively. The most lasting consequence for the adversary is not the arrests themselves, but the intelligence harvested. Each fugitive arrested offers a window into the networks. The interrogations, the phones seized, the hidden stashes uncovered, all of this expands the map of cartel influence. Operation No Escape was not just a simple sweep. It was a powerful wedge driven into networks that the cartels believed were permanently invisible. This intelligence will shape future strikes, ensuring that the initial humiliation of the arrests does not end with the mugshots, but multiplies into a long-term strategic loss. The operation also establishes a new rituality of U.S. dominance. This action sets a historic record, the single largest coordinated fugitive operation in Georgia's history. No prior crackdown reached this sheer scale. This operation is a model, showing that when federal and state forces fuse intelligence and resolve, even the most deeply embedded networks can be flushed out and dismantled.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
The FBI and marshals sent a direct message. Georgia would not become a cartel stronghold. The state will be aggressively and visibly contested, forever denying the cartels the confidence they once enjoyed. Furthermore, the operation holds significant cultural weight. Cartels thrive on perception, the myth that they are untouchable shadows. But when U.S. citizens see 177 fugitives, men and women who built reputations on fear, dragged out of hiding, that myth fractures completely. Residents no longer see them as untouchable. They see them as people who can be tracked, cornered, and captured. This erosion of mystique is a critical loss for the adversary. It encourages U.S. communities to trust their protectors and to believe in the possibility of dismantling networks once thought permanent. This massive operation successfully created identity binding for the audience. For ordinary citizens, seeing violent fugitives arrested by the hundreds validates the idea that justice is not only possible, but inevitable. It confirms the audience's identity as citizens living under a system of order and competence, not at the mercy of criminals. For the adversary, it forces a new identity, not as powerful outlaws, but as failures, stripped of the illusion of freedom and facing inescapable consequences. The strategic consequence of Operation No Escape is a permanent shift in the fight. Cartel operations are now known to thrive in Atlanta suburbs and on Georgia backroads, not just at the border. The bust redefined the geography of the confrontation, proving that takedowns must happen everywhere, across the country. This makes the enemy's logistical planning harder and their risk higher. The U.S. has delivered a final, undeniable lesson that will serve as a powerful deterrent. The final takeaway is empowering and stark. The operation proves that fugitives cannot count on time, distance, or the supposed strength of cartel backing to protect them. It proves that when law enforcement acts with urgency, unity, and an overwhelming show of force, 177 violent offenders can be erased from the streets in a matter of weeks. For Georgia's communities, safety is not a distant promise. It is something that has been fought for and reclaimed in real time. The humiliation of the enemy is complete, but the trials of those captured still represent a cliffhanger for the adversary. The intelligence gathered will fuel open cycles of future strikes that will ensure cartel influence is contested for years to come. This is the essence of the story. 177 suspects, 6 weeks, one coordinated message of dominant power. For the cartels and their foot soldiers in Georgia, there truly was no escape. This takedown was just the start. The fight isn't finished. On your screen is the next video. Click the video, it opens right away, and you'll see the cartels crushed even harder.